Andre 3000 sadly says he has nothing to rap about in his 40s. What up, world? Your boy Charles Brown back again, talking facts. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Man, some things just hurt. They hit you hard, and you can't understand them. I'm going to do my best to try to figure out why Andre 3000 said what he said, because to me, I feel like some of the best rappers in their 40s. I'm just going to be honest. I'm sorry to tell you. I know the myth, the narrative has been since the 90s, because a lot of guys were young in the 90s, so they were thinking that if you were in your 40s still trying to rap, you were dusty, you were old, you were washed up. I know back when I was 23, 24, I mean, I always respected my elder statesmen in the hip-hop game, but I probably really didn't want to hear a 45, 46-year-old rapper. But at the same time, a 45, 46-year-old rapper back then didn't have a lot of stuff to go on. Rap was still being formed into what it is today. When I was 23, 24, 25, a 40-year-old rapper would have been on some, and I'm the breakbeat specialist. It would have been something kind of already stale, right? Let's just be honest. It would have been already played out. They wouldn't have been able to adjust with the times. They wouldn't have been able to really spit a real serious verse to compete with what was going on. Let's just be honest. At the time, 93, 94, we were just starting to get Nas, Wu-Tang. We were starting to get fresh new Biggie stuff. We were starting to get Beat Nuts, Hieroglyphics. We were starting to get a whole lot of stuff. I can just go Chino XL. It was a lot of stuff from a lot of different Alcoholics. A lot of stuff from a lot of different areas that was dope. For an elder guy to try to compete with that, what you ended up getting was Run DMC going to get Tretch to write their rhymes, or going to get this guy and that guy. A lot of older guys could not adjust with it. They could not flow with what was going on now because it was a brand new sound coming. The jazzy bass lines came in, and the older guys wasn't used to that, right? A lot of horns, right? A lot of big beats, hard snares. They wasn't rapping to that. I'm just sorry. They wasn't rapping to that. And a lot of the flows and styles had completely changed. When I was 23, I can't think of one older guy. Even Big Daddy Kane was struggling to stick into the business. When I was 23, 24, he was getting old. He was getting like, I mean, he had changed his style and started being on some Prince of Darkness and Sexual Chocolate and all this stuff. So even Kane had kind of fell by the wayside. And what happens is when you started to chase money and chase styles and chase what's hot, that's when you start to lose who you are, and that's when you lose your core audience. But we would have struggled with trying to. I'm just going to be honest with you. In the early 90s, we would have struggled with older rappers, just to be honest with you. But by us coming from that era when it all changed and it all flipped on its head and it all became super dope, rhyme patterns became super complicated. We grew up in that. So that's not going to be a thing. When I'm 23 and I turn 43, I'm not going to be trying to play catch up with you. I'm already there. I already know all that. I already did all that. A lot of times I hear these guys and I'm listening to them and they dope. When they really dope, you already heard it. You're like, that dude got Jay-Z. Oh, that's early Jay-Z cadence. That's Big L cadence. That's early Pun cadence. That's early Biggie's cadence. That's early Jizza cadence. That's early Genius, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you've already seen this. I grew up in the era when Black Thought was coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen all this, so you're not surprising us with this. So most of the spitters I want to say out here right now, they're going to be elder. I'm sorry. I'm just, maybe because the cloth I'm cut from. Now, I say all that to say Andre 3000 says some depressing stuff. And Lil Wayne was right. It is depressing because Lil Wayne addressed it. But Andre 3000 is like, what am I supposed to rap about at 48? That my eyesight's going bad? That I'm getting a colonoscopy? What am I supposed to rap about? And I'm going to tell you why I feel this is. First of all, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I feel like Dre is going through something. He's been going through something because It's just like when Dave Chappelle threw away the $50 million. And Dave Chappelle really can't to this day explain to you why. We've heard a million reasons why he did it, but who can say why Dave Chappelle really threw away the Dave Chappelle show and threw away $50 million when he was offered the biggest bag any comedian had ever seen for a show that was only 3 seasons long? It's something personal. Andre 3000 is projecting a personal displeasure of the business, a personal displeasure of the game. But the only reason that it can't be taken as personal because he said it more than once. Andre, and I'm the biggest fan. Andre 3000 in my top 10 all day, will always be. But how can he take his personal distaste for the game and make a broad statement like when you're in your 40s, it's nothing to rap about? You got more to rap about now than you ever had because you have more knowledge and awareness. Your skills are sharper if you stayed in it. And one of those things I think Dre doesn't stay in it, so he has to build up to build a verse that he does, right? Which is fine. But Dre has said on more than one occasion that this is a young man's game. Dre said that about 5 years ago, that this is a young man's game. And I wholeheartedly disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree. Because the first thing you're going to say when you say a young man's game, well, then show me the young people that's carrying the torch. Show me the young people that's carrying the torch of hip hop. Hip hop. Show me where they at. Where's the 20? Not this is 1 or 2. You're gonna point. You're gonna be tough to get 5. You're gonna be tough to get 5 fingers of young people showing this art form the respect it needs to be shown. I just saw a clip of Vince Staples saying he never heard Illmatic, never heard Ready to Die, right? Because he was young, but he heard E40 and he heard Too Short. And I'm like, how you heard them? And I get it, he's from the West Coast and this and that, the third. But how you heard them? And they older than Nas, right? They older than Biggie. And I get it, it's a coastal thing and I understand that. But he tried to say it's because when I was so young, nobody was going to play that for me. But what he also said was, to this day, I haven't heard it. So that means even when you got old enough to respect those greats and to respect that music, you still didn't go back and play it. So that shows a lack of desire to understand the culture more. And as much as I love E40 and Too Short, they don't represent the entire culture by themselves. The West Coast is not all of hip-hop culture by itself. So you can't say you love hip-hop or you're going to carry the hip-hop torch when you've only heard the West Coast artists. Right? It's just impossible. You're a pretty good rapper, but you don't have the classics. It's like going to Harvard and only taking half the courses. It has to be a full plate of food. And what I'm saying all that to say, it's not a young man's game when they ain't even listening to what the real classics are supposed to be. We grew up in that. We watched it grow. We watched Wu-Tang before they was. When we saw Wu-Tang, there was somebody in your ear say, "Oh, that's that Prince Rakim dude. Oh, that's that I Love You Rakim dude. Oh, okay, that's the Girl Come Do Me dude." They already had lineage, which was, if you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't, you didn't. Right? Genius had Girl Come Do Me, and RZA had We Love You Rakim or Raheem. We had grew up in this culture. So we already saw both those songs. We wrote them off to a degree. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know. It's going to be some people that say, oh, okay, I loved Girl Come Do Me. But it's not a lot of people going to be like, I loved Girl Come Do Me. Right? When Genius dropped Girl Come Do Me, we all knew that it was we knew what happened to him. We knew that the label pushed him into making that, because this is at the time when hip-hop started making money, so labels was forcing artists to do these records, these female records that they were uncomfortable with, that they didn't feel like they really wanted to do, but they did them anyway. And ended up losing their deals, and they reinvented themselves, or they was out the game forever. And we saw this happen to a couple people now. Like, I was going to say Girls I Got 'Em Locked, but Girls I Got 'Em Locked was more of organic. They did that because they wanted to, right? A Red Hot Lover tone, and if I'm not mistaken, right? But everybody didn't do these female records because they wanted to. So we felt that Girl Come Do Me record was more of a label forced situation. Now, We saw these guys in their iterations become label, I'm not gonna say label puppets, but guys that just did what the label said, to Wu-Tang, who was the definition of independent, strong force that did what they wanted to do and changed the game forever, right? We was in that when we saw that happen. That's not happening right now. There is no Wu-Tang. There is no team of dudes banding together to create super dope, out-of-the-box hip-hop that no one else is doing. At the best right now, you got people trying to imitate each other. If they hear a record that sounds good and is popping, they want to make the exact same record over here and over there and over there and over there. That's not what we were doing. So I disagree 100% with Andre 3000 when he says this is a young man's game, because the young people not following the blueprint like they need to. It was about creating you heard his stuff and you're like, I want to do something better than that. Oh, you heard this style. Oh, I want to do something better than that. You didn't hear it and try to go and bite it and make it just like theirs. So no, this is not hip hop, not a young man's game if they're not playing by the rules of hip hop. So when Andre 3000 says stuff like rap is a young man's game, I 100% disagree. The best music to me is coming out by people in their 40s. Ain't Drake? I don't know if Drake is 40 something, but I believe he's in his 40s. I believe Kendrick is in his 40s. I believe Jay-Z is in his 50s. I believe Kanye is pushing 50. He's in his 40s, right? Nas is in his 40s. Pushing 50 if I'm not mistaken. I can go on and on. I can give you, I believe Conway is in his 40s. I believe Benny the Butcher may be in his 40s. I don't know how old Benny is, but I know he ain't no 29. Right? West Side Gun. 38 Special. I gotta check with 38 Special, but I'm believing he's older. Right? Lord Flea and all these other people. I believe these are older gentlemen. Freddie Gibbs spitting the best rhymes of their career. Right now in their 40s. See, the reason I feel like Dre is saying something so... I believe Dre has his own issues within himself. Dre may be feeling, and I'm not going to say, I don't like the word inadequate, but I think Dre is feeling within himself that he can't produce a good full album. Right? He produced the Flute album, which I give it praise. I gave Dre the praise for the Flute album. A lot of people want to tear it down. Oh, he don't even know the notes. Well, that's called he's a self-taught flute player. That's a literal definition of self-taught. Barry White didn't know music either and got some of the best music you've ever heard. Barry White didn't know one note, but he knew how to tell those people what to play. So it's not about knowing the notes. So I'll give Andre his credit. But at the same time, I feel like Andre is worried about what these young people going to say. And he's worried about when he drops that album, they're going to say, this ain't good enough. And you know what? That's what they probably will say. But Dre, you know as much as I do. When you dropped Speaker Box and Love Below, you went in that studio, you did exactly what you wanted to do. I guarantee you, nobody was in there. Some of that stuff, you could tell Dre was in there by himself. Dre was in there pressing record, going to the mic on his own, right? In my opinion. So, but we love that album. We love the Love Below. Now, my whole thing is, if you creatively you feel like you're burnt out, or you feel like you can't match what you've done because it's like, hey, y'all, and all that stuff, you're never going to top that far as, well, who knows? But in theory, you would never top that kind. That's lightning in the bottle. You cannot recreate Hey Ya and all the success of Hey Ya. Hey Ya is one of the biggest records in history. So you shouldn't go in trying to top a record like that. That's like Cardi B trying to top Bodak Yellow. She's going to make records, but she's never going to top that. Let's just be honest. It was just a moment in time. It caught fire. Every girl in the freaking country was trying to sing that song. You're never going to catch that fire in a bottle again. So I think Dre is caught up in trying to catch that. And when he drops, it got to be so huge and massive. That's not what this is about. Nas dropped another album before now. Don't get me wrong. This new Nas and Hit Boy, they're dropping albums before the other one gets cold. And we love that. Before time, Nas was giving you 6 years before you got a new album. Right? I say this all the time. Remember when DJ Khaled made a whole song, Nas Album Done? That's how crazy it was that Nas had an album done, because it was like a celebration. Nas Album Done. He made a whole song, Nas Album Done. The album wasn't done because it never dropped. But he made a whole song that Nas Album Done, right? But Nas doesn't give you time to marinate and say that the album is good, trash, whatever. He's coming back. Part 3, King's Disease 3 and all this stuff like that, right? And we love it. Magic 2 and all this goofy stuff. I love Nas stuff, right? Nas is making the best music of his life. I said he's in his 40s. Nas got to be 48, 49, 50. But that's when a man is confident in what he's doing and he knows that he's the greatest. I understand that Dre, and when Dre gives you a verse, just listen to the verse he just put on Scientists and Engineers on Killer Mike's album. It's a dope-ass verse. But I think Andre likes to dip his toe, throw you a dope verse, and it doesn't sully his name because he's jumping on somebody else. There's no stake in the game. There is no numbers with it. It's like, oh, I can go jump on Kanye's thing, throw a verse and dip back out. There's no first week sales. I think Dre is worried about all of the trappings of hip hop. Nas not worrying about that. He's making the best music. If the song sound good, light it up. Set it, put it out. Let's go to the next one. Boom, boom, boom. They're making quality music that real hip hoppers love, and the number's gonna come. And I think Dre's scared of them numbers not being what it is because he said something when I was listening to the remark, and he was basically alluding to how the people would perceive and the timing and the momentum. None of that matters when you're making good music. It really just doesn't. All that timing stuff, yeah, that's for people like Cardi and them who want to catch fire and this and that. Dre not making music. He clearly not making music to catch fire because he just put out a flute album that outsold regular people's regular albums. All of the young people that's got the so-called, they chokehold on the game is for young people. He outsold their album with an album that has not one rap on it. Go look it up. The flute album did better than a lot of these rappers. So imagine he put some raps on there, put some features on there, Big Boy on there, Killer Mike on there, Futures on there. You talking to the moon, baby. But I believe that Andre really is going through a mental thing where he doesn't want to fail. And I think the failure is crippling him. The thought of failing with the album. So he's making excuses like, what can I rap about? Colonoscopy? Well, first of all, yeah, you could rap about a colonoscopy. You can make a colonoscopy sound cool as shit. One line about it and you go on to the next one. It doesn't have to be belittling what 40-year-olds are going through. He said, what I'm going to rap about, my eyesight going bad? Yes. Andre could say a slick line about his eyesight going bad. That's how incredibly talented he is. So when he says stuff like that, a person like me going to understand, oh, he's trying to talk himself out of rapping. That's what he's doing. He's talking himself out of doing an album. And he's creating these barriers of his own making so that he don't have to give us an album that we are going to criticize. And they're going to criticize it. They criticize the flute album. They tore that thing up. All up and down my timeline. This is garbage. This trash. People that have no business listen to a flute album will listen to it and criticize it. But you know what? The album still did what it did, and the people that wanted to hear it heard it. We can't be making albums scared of criticism. And I think that's where Andre is at. I think he's worried about what people going to say and who's going to do what and how well it's going to. He's like Kanye. When Kanye puts out an album and then he goes and starts changing it while it's already out, and then it's a new version of this. Kanye, I heard about 3 versions of Wolves, and he took the verse off this and put while the album is out, while you're listening to Pablo, he's changing the music as you're listening to it. And I'm like, dude, just drop the album and leave it there. It's ridiculous. But Andre got some he got a look at reflection to do, self-reflecting to do, because this is not a young person's game. 48 is the perfect level to be rapping because all the good rappers are in their 40s. I'm just going to be honest with you. Show me don't give me a handful, give me 20. Because I can give you 20 dope-ass 40-year-old rappers. Give me 20 dope-ass rappers in their 20s. Put it in the comments. Let me know. CLBMG, head over to CLBMG.com. Make sure you hit we got music over there. We got more shows. We got the commentary, the What Show. We got the Mixdown Show. 2024 going to be a crazy year for CLBMG. I'm going to be in LA soon. I see y'all over there. I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.
CLB.